Joining me on the Getting Lucky Mixed Martial Arts podcast is Hector Lombard, who recently just came off a victory over Toquinho, Husamal Palhares by first round knockout. Hector, during that fight, Palhares is saying that he actually broke his foot on a leg kick that you checked. How do you respond to that?
I would say, like, when you fighting and you're in the fight, and if somebody KO you in the fight, you have no excuses, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if you get caught in the fight, you can't, and you lose the fight after that, you can't say, well, I got caught, that's why I lost the fight. If you lose the fight because you got caught in the fight, there's no excuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're saying, like, if you get damaged in the fight, like if you broke your nose or you broke your hand, you can't say, well, I would have won that fight if I hadn't gotten hurt. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, like when you get in the fight, a bad move or block your move or something went wrong in the fight, there's no excuses. Before the fight, if you, suffer injuries and stuff like that, that really matters. But when you're in the fight, if something happens to you in the fight, it's no excuses. You have to take it how it is. And I believe that he should not even open his mouth, and he should shut up and take it the way it is. He always has some excuses in the past, like when he lost against Nate McQuarrie, he said that, the referee stopped the fight, he put something on his leg that, was slippery, all sort of excuses, Like, I believe that he should shut up his mouth and move on. Because if he broke his leg because he tried to kick me, and I block it, there's no excuses.
Do you know in the fight when that happened? I mean, did you feel it when you checked it?
Yeah, you can see in the fight that I sort of like smile a little bit because I knew that I blocked it really well, and I knew it, and that's why I sort of like smile a little bit. You can actually see in the fight. Yeah, the same way with in the fight before this one, Tim Bosch broke his leg in the fight because I broke his kicks. So it's no excuses.
So you're saying that you actually have a bit of a technique that when someone throws a leg kick, that the way you check the kick, you're able to actually damage the person kicking your foot. So this is actually a technique that you sound like you've practiced.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I have this technique that when the people try to kick me, I block it. I block it really well, and it's sort of like they call it you check. So every single time they come at me, with kicks, I check, and that's what happened. One
thing I did want to say is that when we talked before, you did predict an easy KO by Palhares, so congratulations on that. Apparently you're psychic.
Thank you.
I did want to ask you a couple more questions if you've just got a little bit of time. With George Sotiropoulos losing in the main event, and really, being that he's 34, he's probably on the back end of his career, you're really now the face of mixed martial arts in Australia. I mean, it was a beautiful moment after your win when you're walking around the cage with the Australian flag and, telling everyone how much you love the country. Is that something that you are passionate about, representing Australia sort of on a global stage for mixed martial arts?
Yeah, 100%. You can't choose where you born, but you can choose where you ended up living, right? And I choose to be, ended up my career here in Australia, and I choose to die here in this country. Some people say like I'm an Australian wannabe, but it's not that I'm an Australian wannabe because I'm a citizen and I pay taxes to this country.
I'm an expat too. I'm American, but I live here in Australia too, so you get no complaints from me.
Yeah. So I have the same right that any Australian who born here, and I'm proud to be an Australian. That's the bottom line.
After the fight, you called out Michael Bisping primarily and then secondarily to Mark Munoz. Have you gotten any response from either of those fighters or from the UFC in that regard?
No, I haven't. And, that's another issue that I want to point to. I don't understand how, some people talk, and then they just don't want to put it up. Mm-hmm. As you know, and as everybody knows, Bisping, has talked a lot of stuff about me. And the good thing about this sport is like, there's no point to talk a lot and just, bring the fight. I'm happy to fight anytime. So he needs to shut up and let's make an agreement and let's make the fight happen.
It seemed like the UFC is interested in continuing the tough smashes every year. If the Vitor Bisping fight actually happens and you don't have the opportunity to step in as their last-minute replacement and fight Bisping, would you be interested being a coach for Australia opposite Michael Bisping for, like, say, season 2 of the Tough Smashes?
I gotta tell you honest truth. I would rather just get a fight because, dealing with the guy, that you don't really like, dealing with a guy that you dislike, and he has the biggest mouth in the world. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I would be really, really bothered. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be hard for me to deal with, a person that you just, we just want to have a go.
Yeah. You'd rather just fight and
I would rather just get there and have a go.
Last question, I'll let you go. The UFC tweeted out that there's a really good chance that they'll be able to come to Melbourne because of the regulations being changed, and they want to do a stadium event, possibly at Rod Laver or something like that. Is that something that you've sort of kept your eye on, that you'd like to fight another fight in Australia, but this time on a major card in Melbourne for the first time?
Yeah, I'm down for it. I used to live in Melbourne as well. 3 cities that I live in this country. It was in Melbourne, in Queensland, and in Sydney. Mm-hmm. So any of those three cities, I'm happy to fight. Because I have a good memories in every single one of those cities.
We'd love to have you. I'm a Victorian myself.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I used to live in Tullamarine.
Oh, really? I'm actually, we go back and forth. I have a place in Bendigo and I have a place in Melbourne. I kind of go back and forth. I'd love for the UFC to come to Melbourne. It's long overdue.
Yeah, I went a couple times to Bendigo, competing in grappling competitions in Bendigo. It's a good judo up there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a really, most of the Australian judo players come from Bendigo.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out. Well, Hector, I certainly appreciate you reaching out. I agree 100% that if you get damaged in a fight, you should just take the loss like a gentleman.
Yeah.
Be congratulatory to your opponent and move on. Toquinho has a lot of options going forward. He doesn't need to blame a broken foot on a technique you've obviously mastered to inflict damage. And I
gotta point one thing. This is karma for him because he had broken a lot of foot, through his whole career in Abu Dhabi, UFC, and you name it. So it's time for him to get coming back.
Actually, I've seen that quite a bit. That the irony of him in the wheelchair with that big massive foot.
He actually break the foot intentionally. It's like the guy stopped, but he just keep going. He just keep breaking it. When the guy just stop, he just keep breaking it. And then he come back and he's acting like, oh, I didn't know about it. Oh, I'm sorry. When the foot is already up, when the legs are already all ripped, and the guy is gonna be for 2 years. He's gonna be out for 2 years. He doesn't really care, but he shows that I'm sorry, but he's not.
Yeah, I think the fight in particular that you're talking about is the Mike Macinzio fight when he held the heel hook about a second and a half longer when the ref actually tried to stop it.
Yeah, and the last time in Abu Dhabi, in the semifinals, the guy tapped and he just keep breaking it, and he broke all the ligaments of the guy, and the guy is out for 2 years. He's just like, why you do that?
Yeah.
The guy already tapped, but he just keep breaking it. Now it's time to get back, to him. He's coming.
Yeah. So I guess what you're saying is that if you can dish it out, you should be able to take it.
Yeah.
Well, Hector, I certainly appreciate you coming on. I'd love to take a visit up to where you train, whether it's in Sydney or Queensland down the road for your next fight.
Yeah, I would love to because for this fight, I trained a month before in Sydney. I was in Sydney training for this fight, preparing for this fight. So from now on, not because I won this fight, but I did it because I came from Australia, and most of my fights, I used to train here. But from now on, I'm just gonna do my preparation in my training camp here in Australia. So I just give you a call and then we'll go from there.
That sounds great. I'd love to take a visit.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a great holiday.
You too, bro.
And best of luck in the new year.
Thank you. Have a good day, bro.
See you, buddy.
高がたいゲッターローダー